Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Young Girl Journal, aka YGJ, and in this episode I'm going to be going over some of the trades I took this week, specifically on Wednesday 24th September 2025, as you can see here. And these are some of the news events that were there. I filtered this out to only show the news events for Euro, USD, GBP, and JPY. So if there are other currencies that you see on your thing and it's not here, that's basically that's how I filtered my news events or my Forex Factory calendar. Yeah, so for this day I was trading mainly two pairs, that is the US 100. Actually there were three, because as you can see here we have GBP, USD, US 30 and the Nasdaq. But then you can see these are like two things, because currently I trade three accounts. So sometimes I may not have the capability to be like placing the trades on all the three accounts, because I don't use for the prop firms I use, they don't allow copy trading, so I can't use the softwares for copy trading and such things. So for the trades, I'm going to begin with the one for US 30. As you can see, we're going to first go through the journal and then we get to the charts on TradingView. So for US 30, you can see that in the before, as you can see here, this was the during and then the after. So for the before, for US 30, you can see that price on the higher time frame, that is here, you can see that right here we had, this is the 4H, as you can see in the watermark. You can see that price is, for all these indices, okay, it has been making all-time highs since July or what, but in, I think, was it August, price was kind of in a consolidation, and then now we have started seeing good price action, and this whole thing that's why I've been like, anyway, that doesn't matter. But we can see that price is overall it's making all-time highs, and it's very bullish. Much as I'm supposed to be trading with a trend, that's why I was supposed to be looking for buys, but I did the contrary, was because we can see here that for me, I'm seeing it as price being in a deep premium, and obviously price can't always be going higher, so at some point it will have to retrace, go down, pick up that liquidity, and then continue going up long term. So this is what I wanted to see on US 30. We can see on the 15-minute chart here, when we drop down, this was the price action for Tuesday, and we had these white curves you're seeing here. They mark the Asian session, like the highest high and the lowest low of the Asian session. So we can see that around here we had this buy side liquidity above here, and that was a mistake I took, because this very first setup was a loss. As you can see here, price opened at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the New York stock market opens. It took out that buy side liquidity, and then it started dumping, as we can see here. So that is one of the mistakes I made, because it's not advisable to trade around that time if you're like intraday scalping or what, and maybe if you're like swing trading or what, then there, if you're holding your trades on a higher time frame, then there you can hold. But according to my trading style, I wasn't supposed to be in the market or in a position at that time. Yeah, so that is what happened, and then I entered again after this showed me a clear market structure shift lower, after it had swept all this buy side liquidity above here, and then it made a clear market structure shift lower. I entered off of this inversion fair value gap. As you can see this candlestick that made this big move up, and then it left this fair value gap. Then here, when it filled it up, it became an inversion fair value gap, and I entered off from there. as you can see, and my target was 4H order block. We shall get into that on the chart for a clearer thing. And then the during was yeah, so this is what we had, though I got out early because, as I've told you, our price on the indices has been making all-time highs and it is strongly bullish. So I was expecting any kind of, rather continuation to the upside. So that's why I got out early, but price actually continued down, as we can see here. Yeah, and these were my anticipations that if price can this level here, you can see that this would be like a support level for the retail guys, and I was expecting price to come and sweep the sell side liquidity below here. And the reason as to why I never marked the wicks is that I've been having issues with like different brokers. Remember here, these are CFDs, so the spreads affect the precision. That's why I normally use the bodies rather than the wicks, but one could use the wicks, but yeah, I use the bodies. I prefer using the bodies. So that's why I demarcated my things from this side. And then yeah, we can see this would have been my first partial. And then yeah, price went there, it went, yeah. And then for the second trade, it was on GBP USD, the other setup I had. Much as it wasn't, the bias wasn't actually right, because if you to look into for the next episode I'll be putting out, it will be explaining that of Thursday, because that now is the price action for Thursday, not Wednesday. It will be explaining all that thing that GBP USD was doing. So basically those are the two, and then we are going to get into a trading view and we see what happened. Yeah, so on US 30 on trading view, as we can see on the 15-minute chart, as you can see here in the 15-minute or on this watermark, and then my time, it's UTC -4 New York time, and this was the whole narrative. So we can see that here we had these relatively equal highs prior to this 9:30 opening. As you can see, this candlestick that manipulated higher at 9:30. Yeah, so we had these relatively equal highs, and obviously we know that whenever we have relatively equal highs or relatively equal lows, there is liquidity above or below those levels. So here there's buy side liquidity above these relatively equal highs, abbreviated by REH, as you can see here. And then we had this manipulation higher. We made a clear market structure shift lower, if you can see, if I can take you in the 5-minute chart. And yeah, so we had a very clear market structure shift at this point here. Yeah, so on the market structure shift, yeah, so we had this displacement high and then lower, and then after that we had this inversion fair value gap, as you can see here. It became it was first a bullish fair value gap, but then when price came through here, it inversed to an inversion fair value gap, and as you can see that price respected it here, and then price started dropping up to this level here, the sell side level here. I had marked out on in the journal that I wanted to see what price react off of it, since it was an area of support according to the retail guys. So I wanted to see price reverse from there, or take out the sell side liquidity below, and then reverse, retrace, and then continue going down, because as you can see that on the 4H, price is likely shifting to a bearish sentiment, because we have been quite in a very bullish sentiment. As you can see here, you can see that price has been making higher highs and higher lows, but now here we have broken this low here. As you can see, this is an intermediate low, and normally if this body closes below this, then probably we could be shifting to a bearish sentiment, but it may not be for a very long time because these stock indices are poised to always go higher. And if sometimes the stocks that are in those indices, they are not performing, they remove them and they put the better performing indices, something of that sort. So that's why you see that in the long term they are always moving up, or they always say that the stock market always moves up. Yeah, so basically that's my whole narrative. That was my whole narrative on the US30 trade. So for GBP USD, and that was the other setup I had. As you can see, though, for GBP USD it has been tricky for me, and yeah, so when we go to the 15-minute for Wednesday, at first, if we're to go back to my journal here and we see the before for GBP USD, it was quite confusing because I had two narratives, but at first you can even see from here, from this, my executions here, I made a loss of the GBP buy here. At first I had a buy in mind because price was currently in a discount. Let me see if I had actually, yeah, so this was the whole idea of the buy at this point here. But then some of the mistakes I made was that I never considered the higher time frame narrative, that is the daily, because the daily and the 4H, they were showing that GBP is like going down, as you can see here. My network is really slow, but yeah, you can see that price here on GBP USD on the 4H, we can see that price, it has been in a bearish sentiment. As you can see here, it came retraced up to this order block here, and then again sold off here. And now this is Thursday, because I also took this sell here, though I never held up to this far because there's some news that will be in the next episode anyway. Yeah, so basically at first I was seeing a buy, and then when on this lower time frame, that's why it's better to begin with a higher time frame and then you do the top down analysis. So that was the mistake I made for that setup. And as you can see here, it was around this point here where I wanted to see it go up, but it actually never went there. As you can see, it was this 5-minute order block at around midday, 12 midday. 15-minute order block at around midday. This is what we have here. Yeah, it was at this point here. So it got triggered, but I just got out on Thursday morning at this point here. This was the idea. So it got triggered from here, and I wanted to sell up to these equal highs up there. But as you can see, that price actually never did that, because on the higher time frame was showing something else. As you can see on the 4H, that the market structure is like making lower lows currently. And yeah, so I had to follow that. And when I came in the next day on Thursday, I saw that, and yeah, I had to shift my setup to a bearish bias. So basically that's it for this episode, and thanks for watching, and I'll be uploading more episodes of how I trade and how I journal. Thank you. Have a nice one.